This is the City of Ontario monitoring, tracking my steps. Amplified plane activity. Where 2500 Airport Road, where the airport is, and it's also not in Fontana. Where you're looking at the behavioral pattern. This is what the white Tesla was doing at the Fontana Lewis Library entrance, where the fake someone's over me in Fontana, California, when I'm arriving during the 11 a.m. hour. And then I walk to the back of that Fontana Lewis Library at 8437 Sierra Avenue, where the fake only would be reflecting off of the windshield and would be over my head, not the natural environment with the City of Ontario. Those are the sex offenders that go into the bathroom, homosexual women that are around living their lives like they're heterosexuals, and their gang stalking partners they're both obsessed with my vagina. 6XTE243, and they're engaged in gang stalking with the Ontario police that are being disbanded. Remember, the Fontana police are gang stalking under the fake sun, as I documented in the afternoon just yesterday. Don't be deceived. The entity covered up the fake sun this morning because they're monitoring the evidence. And while I go from city to city, I've documented that pattern. You'll see when I go to Los Angeles the next day, when I return to a venue that I routinely document, the entity covers up the fake sun. That's why the Ontario Police Department, those demons that committed kidnapping, that's why they're going to prison. All right, while they are indeed engaged in federal stalking. You'll pay attention to that unspoken pattern. The entity is tracking my steps, stalking, clearly deviating. There's no takeoffs over 280 North Limit, where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking at 10:10 in the morning off of this same Hope Boulevard, while they're monitoring with sex offenders, 12212E4, another homosexual. They go into the bathroom to monitor me as well, stalking, obsessed, psychopaths. There's no sun simultaneously over the Fontana Lewis, and there's also no sunlight inside of that Fontana Lewis Library. There's never any sunlight that's going to reach into the depths with the flashing light all over the desk, where you're also seeing what is the evidence, direct evidence of the City of Ontario and the City of Fontana, both engaging in the shared pattern of conduct. Doing so with that provide evidence against themselves. C. Torres, L. Martinez, Nathan Morgan, B. Hook, L. Edwards, Alex Escobar, who was under the fake sun at 12:13 p.m. And it's still over the same entrance. Remember what she's doing on the side of this venue? Right here, while I'm in the bathroom, my vagina is being monitored by the people of the state, 9UMH980. They're doing so with the entity that's engaging in documented acts of what is psychological torture and harassment, while demons that lack self-control are going to federal prison with the evidence that I document showing that, proving that they're targeting. This is what is also putting Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields in prison. All right, the demons of the City of Ontario stalking with peculiarized light, they're doing the same thing while they're driving under a fake sun. This is light activity while the sun's in Fontana, and the municipality is gang stalking in concert with Paul Leon, okay? Not different from the gang stalker Aquanetta Warren, where both cities are engaging in the statewide pattern of conduct, and this is prosecuting the Fontana police that are targeting under the fake sun, like I documented, facing Spring Street and Sierra, and this is documenting the Ontario police who are stalking, engaging in a documented pattern of stalking. Don't forget, that's Ontario Town Square. What are they doing flying over me for a whole hour from 8:59 to 9:59 a.m.? And we're looking at what is 1:18 p.m. and the fake sun's over me. I'm looking at that same property. That wouldn't be the sun. And I'm also looking at the same venue where they're flying over me on another day, stalking for 20 minutes, flying in circles over me while the fake sun is over me at the same address. This is where the entity is both engaged in gang stalking and also monitoring the evidence that I've collected and published regarding them gang stalking. And gang stalking is committed by a government in furtherance of the criminal conspiracy to commit murder. And the entity that's acting in furtherance of that conspiracy to commit murder engages in ongoing acts of documented psychological torture tactics, such as stalking under a fake sun and stalking with impossible light, like the people of the state do, stalking in bathrooms, monitoring while you're in a private space like that, as a public, engaging in a sex act together, 5XFZ715, and they do so while the entity is stalking and terrorizing and harassing with helicopter, which is exactly what you're doing. And it's very targeted when you're comparing the criminal conduct I documented in Fontana versus the criminal conduct that I've been documenting in Ontario, where the entity is engaging in what is keeping that fake sun over me yesterday. That's the impunity. The demons are going to federal prison. Mike LORENZ is indeed a sex offender. You see that large label over his head? Look on the Google Drive. And so is Paul Leon. He's a sex offender keeping my vagina under surveillance. So are the demons that are of the Alan D. Wapner. He's a sex offender, and they're all demons. And those violent sex offenders, they practice pedophilia. They engage in criminal conduct against American citizens and then gang stalk them in order to murder them and criminally defame them. And the Ontario police that committed kidnapping, they're going to prison. Okay? This is the entity that was tracking my steps. That's why the Ontario International Airport that has to fly miles away from that airport to then hover over the 280, where you're hearing that volume, where you're looking at that low elevation, where you're not doing anything other than stalking, just like the Ontario police are under the fake sun that's over the same person at the same venue, directly conflicting evidence of the sun being over the Fontana Lewis Library. Okay? That's the P.O.C. I'm documenting the fake son still at the Fontana Lewis Library at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm documenting it still at the Fontana Lewis Library at 6 o'clock in the evening, where you know that this is a gang stalker conspiring my murder, 5XFZ515. And that's the criminal conduct committed by the mayor, every gang stalking mayor. That includes Aquanetta Warren and Paul Leon, who are going to be removed from office. This is P.O.C. It is currently 1:20 p.m. See that fake sun move as I move? Right back to the same inches. This is where it's at when I'm entering at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is the same. This is exactly the location where it's at 10 in the morning. This is P.O.C.